Radiant team ban. Seconds remaining.
Okay, hello everybody and welcome back to your coverage of the Redbull ECL. This is our final game for the day and it's IG up against Titan. IG are currently leading 1-0 in this best of two game set, whatever you want to call it. And again, let's remind everybody of the stakes before we get too much further into this. So there is no elimination as far as the group stage portion of this competition is concerned. Everybody comes into this group stage, they play every other team twice. You determine the overall standings from that, and then we have a bubble race. And for anybody not familiar with what a bubble race is, the 4th place team plays the 3rd place team in a best of 3. The winner advances to play against the 2nd place team, and the winner of that match advances to play against the number 1 team, which is effectively your grand final. So it's a pretty short event, a grand total of about 5 days of play. There are $23,000 or so up for grabs depending on the exchange rate. So I think it's around 23k at the moment, and right now the only way that Titan can influence their position is influencing who they play against tomorrow. Again, IG need a win in this game to go up to have enough points to actually take over Tongfu. So if Titan win this, they're going to be playing against Tongfu tomorrow. If Titan lose this, they'll be playing against IG tomorrow. But no matter what happens, Titan's on the bottom and DK are on the top. So I'm Basket here providing coverage for the Beyond the Summit guys. It's a pleasure to be joining all of you guys this evening for all of this Dota. And let's just get ourselves underway. I unfortunately couldn't find a co-caster for Game 2 either, so I'm going to be flying solo for this one, but hopefully shouldn't be too much of a problem. And again, a reminder for anybody just tuning in now, we had Extinct drafting last game. It's also going to be Extinct drafting this time around. So Titan just trying to mix things up and see if they can make some adjustments at this point, because with the way that they've been playing, it seems like they're unlikely to win tomorrow's match and to be able to advance further in the bubble race. So while Winter was saying that they didn't come into this competition with a whole lot of practice, by their own admission, they're going to have to try and change something because the Miracle Dota strategies have just not been working out. So with that said, we are going to have Titan banning out a Chen and a Venomancer, immediately snagging the Enchantress. So probably going to be Extinct's hero here. And Invictus Gaming getting rid of the Alchemist and the Nature's Prophet. No big surprises against Titan. Well, actually, the one big surprise is that they don't get rid of the Naga Siren. So we'll have to see. Maybe Miracle is chomping at the bit to play some Naga and show off his skills again. But we'll see. I think IG would have obviously spotted the fact that Extinct is in the captain's seat, and we'll see if Titan are going to continue to stick with their guns in terms of picking these slightly more early game oriented lineups, or if they are going to cave and second pick the Naga. I wouldn't expect the Naga to make it all the way into the next round. That's probably just asking for it. So, other things to keep in mind. IG have played 5 games of Dota so far today. They have been playing Dota for around the last... they've been playing Dota over the course of the last 8 hours or so. Again, that's only 5 games. We had plenty of breaks for Hearthstone. But fatigue is definitely something to keep in mind, though. IG seemingly did just fine in that best of 7 marathon against DK just recently, so probably not affecting them too much. And Titan just going to continue going for these early game kind of strats, are going to end up picking up the Timbersaw. So we've got off lanes secured for both teams. Titan need to make sure that they block out the Ancients from the Bristleback so that he can't stack them up and get a lot of additional farm, especially since he has the Crystal Maiden. It means that not only can he stack the Ancients, he can also be clearing them as he goes, so he doesn't end up with a huge stack that he has to clear all at once, and that means that his laning presence is going to be that little bit stronger as well, just because he's getting that constant income, those constant levels coming in at the same time. And Titan, we'll see what they get rid of here. IG, looking like they're just going to be playing a fairly comfortable strategy. I said the offlane Bristleback, it could of course be safe lane. They do run it there from time to time. If they'd like to, they could bring back the How Viper, perhaps, on the safe lane, depending on what Titan pick up Just look for that fast push. There's still an opportunity to maybe pick up a Pugna, and they could even still just evolve out into a full tri-core. They could put the Dragon Knight mid. They could pick up something like a Luna for the safe lane, and do pretty well for themselves in that way. So plenty of options for IG. Similar story for Titan, just their offlaner and a jungler so far. And with the Enchantress picked up, IG can't even necessarily go for an aggressive tri-lane. It does end up being a little bit of a gamble, and that's the one weakness of Chen as your jungler, for example, is that his presence and his control over the lane is not as strong, and it means that if you have a weak defensive duo lane, you can be in some trouble. But Titan just gonna get rid of the Nyx Assassin and the Visage, and IG are gonna say thank you very much for banning at the Nyx Assassin. We're gonna get rid of OD, and we're gonna get rid of DK, and we're gonna pick up the Storm Spirit. And Titan so far not an ounce of lockdown to deal with this Storm. There are still plenty of heroes left in the pool to deal with him. There is still Doom. If you want a core position, there is still a Lion if you would like a support position instead. Just a bunch of heroes that can force the Storm Spirit into going for an early BKB, or if not, make his life a lot more difficult. But it is something that Titan are going to have to keep in mind. And the Storm Spirit is something that we've seen a lot of, especially in this sort of 3rd to 4th pick spot over the course of the last couple of days, and over the course of the last month or so of Chinese Dota. We've had so much great Chinese Dota going on. We had Ace group stages, which transitioned pretty much straight away into the Fengyang tournament, and then I think I'm getting things mixed around a little bit. We also had the Cena Cup in there, Ace Finals, obviously, and now we're back for even more with the Redbull ECL. So everybody in China is getting a lot of practice. And obviously we do have Vici Gaming and LGD shipping over to play against Fnatic and the other team who is eluding me right now in the grand finals of the HyperX D2L. But I'm sure someone will let me know who it is in chat or something like that. But Titan, do they want the Naga Siren? They could take it. I don't know if Miracle is trying to be persuasive at the moment. And Titan actually going to end up going for the Shadow Demon. Nice pairing with the Enchantress to be able to move around and gank early. So maybe that's the plan, put some pressure down on the Storm Spirit. But aside from that, it doesn't really betray too much. If you can get a Soul Catcher up on the Bristleback, you're going to be pretty happy and should be able to burst him down, especially having the Timbersaw, which is, I guess, one thing that I didn't talk about. But still no real lockdown for Titan in terms of dealing with the Storm. In the past, at least as far as this tournament is being concerned, we did see them pick up the Puck fairly heavily to at least have a little bit of control over the Storm Spirit, and we'll see if maybe they go back to that here as well. Though that would leave them with only a single core lineup against what could potentially be a duo core, well, a duo late game core for IG with the Bristleback plus whoever their safe lane is going to be. And if they really want to, they could just go Lifestealer and run some Storm Spirit Lifestealer bombs all over the place. So the Shadow Demon and the Timbersaw are a little bit of a deterrent to the Nyx. So we'll see what they have in mind. Titan have already chewed through a lot of their reserve time as well, though there's not that many complicated decisions to make for the rest of the draft. Just one ban and 2 picks remaining.
Radiant team pick.
D2L Finals isn't final yet, but Alliance and Fnatic are in. Thank you very much to people in chat. So it's supposed to be Vici, LGD, Fnatic, and Alliance. Should be a great event. Really looking forward to watching it. Okay, so IG do end up just going for the Lifestealer, Titan. What do they want here? I guess it's a question of what Miracle is willing to play. They are going to end up picking up the Templar Assassin. Nice to have against the Storm Spirit. Gives them a little bit of extra damage, and Lifestealer is surprisingly easy to deal with if you have some minus armor like the TA. So Titan actually going to manage to sneak another core into their lineup as well. We're looking for a final support for IG and Titan. We're going to have to see how they finish this draft off. If they really want to put a lot of hate towards the Bristleback and the Lifestealer, Razor could be a very nice pickup. You can drain either of them for damage. You can start the drain and then you can disrupt whoever you're looking towards. Or if you can start the drain, get focused, and then just have the Shadow Demon disrupt you and continue to steal damage. And that's the one thing about the Razor. If he's behind the curve in terms of burst damage, oh wow, Titan, that's pretty cheeky. They're going to ban at the Naga Siren themselves. I say, look, we're not going to play Naga. We're feeling confident to play some different strategies. I don't think IG could have maybe taken the Naga as the support position, but to me it's just Titan saying, look, no, it's not going to be the Naga. We have something else in mind. I'm extinct, I'm in control, and I've got a plan. So we shall have to see. IG still 50 seconds remaining to make the decision here, and we'll see what they come up with. They're still just looking for a final support. They don't really have all that much to deal with the Templar Assassin right now in terms of damage over time. But as far as support options are concerned that are going to give you a dot, I guess there's Dazzle with a Poison Touch. If you want to be really greedy, you could jungle a Darkseer. But I think a little bit unlikely. We'll probably just be seeing a fairly conventional support here. Who's still actually around? There's still a Rubik. As far as premium supports are concerned, I guess the Lion is still worth mentioning. Burst damage is fantastic against the Timbersaw and the Enchantress, and a little bit of extra lockdown never goes astray either. And with somebody like the Crystal Maiden, you can pick up a fairly greedy support here as well. But IG looks like they're actually a little bit more concerned about their lanes and a little bit more concerned about the minus armor from the Templar Assassin. They are going to end up picking up the Lich. So we've got the Frosty support combination. Expect some corny voice interactions between them if they ever get close. But IG, I guess, might be able to... Well, we'll see where the Lich ends up devoting his time. Could spend quite a bit of time mid helping the Storm Spirit out. It could in fact be a duo lane mid, Lifestealer plus Lich, give the Storm Spirit the safe lane farm. They could also choose to prioritize the Bristleback, but I think he's going to be okay without too much help. So we'll see what IG end up doing here. And Titan, how are they going to finish this draft off? It's going to be Invoker. Okay, so it remains to be seen what Miracle's hero is going to be, but I'm kind of hoping that it's going to be the Invoker, and it is. So we've got some disruption into Sunstrikes, and Miracle, if you've seen him play Tinker, you should probably be excited for his Invoker play as well. Not that they necessarily hint at one another, but he's a very strong mechanical player, and a hero like Invoker should hopefully let him shine. It's not the best pickup here, honestly, because there are 3 heroes on IG that are really going to get up in his face, and if there's anything that Invoker hates more than anything, it's people getting right up in front of him. He'd much prefer to have a little bit of room, cast some spells, do some damage with the Forge Spirits, and have better control of the fight, but if IG jumps straight on top of him with a Bristleback Storm and the Lifestealer, then he's in for a pretty hard time. So we'll see how he manages to do here, and I guess the other thing is we're gonna have to see what kind of build he goes for, though the Invoker is a hero where you can be forgiven for being a little bit greedy. So guys, welcome back to your final game of the day for the second day of the Redbull ECL. It's Titan versus IG, and IG, after taking the first game, only need to wrap this one up to be able to reclaim the number 2 position in the group. So I'm Basecamp, providing coverage on behalf of Beyond the Summit, and let's very quickly run over our lineups before we see this really aggressive smoke movement from IG Connect. So very quickly, on IG, YYF on the Lifestealer, Banana on the Lich, Faith on the Crystal Maiden, How, otherwise known as whatever this is, on the Bristleback, and we've got Ferrari bringing up the rear on the Storm Spirit. Meanwhile, over on Titan, Miracle on the Invoker, Extinct or X on the Enchantress, ky.xy on the Templar Assassin, Ohio on the Timbersaw, and Net is going to be on the Shadow Demon. Titan didn't manage to reveal this smoke, but looks like they just spotted the Bristleback poking his head around the corners. So they have their suspicions about what's going on, and it won't end up being a first blood for IG, just making their way in to block out a couple of camps, getting rid of both the medium camp, the big camp, and the other big camp as well. This ward is fairly common, so Titan should probably be able to deal with that, but with 3 camps warded and only 2 sentries, Extinct can only do so much. So IG are going to do their best to slow down these early Enchantress ganks with the Shadow Demon. There's 1 smoke picked up between them so far, but Extinct was probably hoping to see if he could grab a creep at level 1 and then immediately gank the Storm Spirit mid, but won't be able to do it. And it's not even the Storm Spirit mid. IG see the Templar Assassin, decide that they don't even want to deal with that matchup, and it is going to be actually the Bristleback and the Lich mid, and they pitch the Lifestealer to the offlane. This is not uncommon for IG, and I think this actually ends up being pretty good. The thing about putting the Lifestealer mid is that if the Lifestealer was here on mid with the Lich, he's going to be getting a lot of farm, but having the offlane Lifestealer means that you've actually, wow, okay, Ohio in trouble, double damage Crystal Maiden, going to work, but looks like he's actually going to be okay. But the thing about having the Lifestealer on mid is that he gets a lot of farm, and then he might not really end up using the safe lane Storm Spirit. He can get his fast levels, you can start loading up some Infest Bombs, and if it's an offlane Lifestealer, you're a little bit less sad about, you know, Infest ganks not working out and things like that. And I think YYF should still be able to get some pretty reasonable farm here. Miracle actually going to start off with some pretty early boots, just up against the Lifestealer, and 1 point in Quaz so far, so we'll see where this takes him. Still expecting to see a Quaz Exort build overall, however. Okay, so probably not too much going to happen so far. Titan going to manage to get some D-wards down on their camps, so a little bit of control reclaimed of their jungle. Extinct, however, a little bit sad. This camp is still blocked out as well. Ohio continues to eat harassment on top lane, but the creep wave is in a really good position for him. And with that, he's actually going to be able to soak up his level 3. Not the same story for YYF, who's sitting all the way back at level 1 right now. Looks like Net has just been spending a lot of time pressuring him, and won't be able to drop a cold snap quite in time there, but still a little bit of illusion harassment going out, and YYF only a salve left right now. Net actually still hanging around here to continue applying pressure. So Titan doing what they can to try and create some space for Miracle, and not too surprising. Ohio actually fighting Ferrari a little bit here. Timber Chain goes out, he doesn't get the damage. Salve's going to be popped off. Ohio, what's he got left? Just some tangos, and looks like he's going to end up dropping here. Tries to do a little bit more damage to Faith, but misses the Timber Chain, and that is going to be first blood drawn by Ferrari.
Glorious thanks.
Okay, so nice little bit of a start for IG, ky.xy, managing to get some CS on mid, but still fantastic farm on How. Extinct has managed to find a Centaur over in this camp as it respawns, so we might see a smoke movement out of the supports. I think Net has laid the groundwork for Miracle to do just fine in this lane. As you can see, he's actually just playing up pretty aggressively, sitting back past the creep wave, and the boots give him the opportunity to do this as well. He can chase the Lifestealer down the lane, do a little bit of damage to him, and still make it back to the creeps in time. And also he feels very safe. Even if he gets open wounds, he's probably not in too much trouble.
Demised.
But the one question for Titan is, if they do choose to roam the Enchantress around and use the smoke, where do they go? Mid lane is probably a little bit unlikely. The Lich is going to continue to keep this pulled back at all times. They could maybe head up to the top side of the map and look to get a ganked in on Ferrari. He isn't leveling that quickly just because Faith is actually sitting in the lane at all times, just kind of babysitting him for the time being. So there is a little bit of experience being lost there, but making sure that the Storm Spirit has an alright time means that it doesn't really matter what happens to the Lifestealer on the off lane. The Storm Spirit can buddy up with him, and they can hopefully get some ganks going on. So keeping the Storm Spirit in a good spot is really crucial for IG right now. 4-minute rune's going to spawn. Banana, benefit of a duo lane mid, is just going to be able to camp that and actually place down another ward. So it looks like they've been holding on to that one for a little while. And Miracle, what's he farming towards? No clues just yet. Again, wouldn't be too surprised to see a Midas from him on this Invoker. And YYF, what's he been up to? I thought he might have stacked up the Ancients once, but not going to do so. If he picks up a couple... Okay, here's the smoke. So Net and Extinct, what's the plan? Mid lane is pretty safe. Again, Sacrifice is keeping the lane pulled back, and yeah, Extinct and Net, looks like they are going to be heading all the way to top. They've got a little bit of time left on this Satyr, about 40 seconds, and Ferrari's still not quite level 6, so it looks like this is going to be a very timely gank Net's going to lead the way. He's managed to farm up his boots as well, so they should be able to get in range. It's nighttime. The disruption goes out. Ohio comes in. They're going to throw out a Sunstrike and the Soul Catcher. Ferrari pops before he can do anything at all. And a very nice move from the Titan supports is going to end up drawing blood. Okay, so IG probably still not that worried, but again, the Storm Spirit doing well determines whether or not the Lifestealer is going to have an okay time, and yeah, it looks like Titan actually just going to be hanging around a little bit longer on the top side of the map. No vision here from IG, but they haven't seen Titan go anywhere else, so a bit of a stalemate right now. Ferrari doesn't want to move out. He just wants to wait for the creeps to turn up underneath his tower. But Titan could maybe even go for a dive here. They're not even going to have to. Faith runs straight into the two supports, gets a bite out, but that's another kill for Titan, and making this early aggressive pressure look easy. And I guess this is another way to play. Well, this is another way to play Miracle Dota. Just have him Sunstrike from the other side of the map, and Miracle with that gets another kill on Ferrari. So this is what we want to see from Titan. And actually Banana getting chased down by ky.xy. There isn't another trap for a couple of seconds, but one more right click, still going to bring him down. IG try to get a little bit of a turnaround on top lane. There's a rank 2 bite up on Ohio. He jumps all the way over the top of the trees. He's got stick charges cooling down right now. He actually manages to get out of range of the last Quill Spray, I believe. Sunstrike coming in as well, and How walks straight into it. Miracle even TPing in for that one just in case. And no super early Midas, actually just going to end up picking up some phase boots. So Miracle looking fairly active. He is currently 2-0-1, your lead farmer on the map. And as an orange fan from TI3, I'm pretty happy to see Titan actually find their form a little bit. I think IG is still in an alright position, and Ferrari reaches level 6, and they're actually going to smoke up. Though looks like they might have been spotted by this Radiant Ward, depending on when they pop this, so we'll have to see. Miracle is the target, sitting up on top lane. Roll's going to come in, walked a little bit too far forward, and looks like IG will be able to bring him down. TP support coming in, tries to pop the Ghost Walk, but won't be able to.
Denied.
He has actually gone back for his Midas recipe, but again, no big surprises there. It's absolutely fantastic on Exort Invoker. You benefit from every single level, and yeah, just in general, Invoker scales well with levels. A little bit of extra gold, not going to go astray either, and looks like it should be a pretty timely Midas at that, especially given that he went for phase boots first. So how are IG doing? How has nada. Banana has zip. He doesn't even have boots. Ferrari has zilch, however you want to put it. ky.xy is going to be chasing down How right now. Sunstrike coming in as well. How turns around, gets slowed down one more time, and ky.xy coming in for the killing last hit. No, Ferrari, what could he do here? Actually stick charges from How, keep him alive. ky.xy, a dive too far, will be brought down, and Ferrari gets back on the board. Kill for him. He's actually got all 3 of IG's kills so far, so pardon the turn of phrase. He's not back on the board. He's continuing to climb.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Very well.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Okay, so Ohio has some arcanes. Looks like it's going to be a mech build from him. YYF is still dirt poor. Banana, again, still no boots. They are going to give How a little bit of safe lane farm for the time being. Titan leading by over 2k gold, and experience going to plateau out a little bit around the 3k mark. And that moves deep into the Dire jungle, looking to place down some aggressive wards, and looks like he's going to be just fine to do so. If he walks down the hill, might be spotted over here, but looks like for right now, he's going to be just fine. And just the Forge Spirit scouts out Ferrari over at mid. Gonna scout out Faith as well. Faith currently carrying a smoke, so if Titan are being really attentive, maybe a little bit of a clue here. They're gonna throw out the Disruption and the Catcher. No Sunstrike just yet. It's actually gonna be ky.xy walking in for that kill. Net in trouble, but Ferrari also pretty low on mana. Net not quite able to get the Demonic Purge down. And now IG bring everybody up here. Miracle, what's he got left? Just holding onto the Sunstrike. The Chain Frost bounces out. Miracle gonna head back into the enemy team. Ohio here to try and make some space. Sunstrike gonna be dropped to YYF. turns around. They've managed to bring down the Lich. How keeps on fighting, but Ohio jumps in, connects the Timber Chain onto 2. One more right click, finishes off the Lifestealer, and How trying to run back. Big pure damage coming out from the Impetus charges. Is Extinct going to be able to get this one? He doesn't have one more Imp. And How actually not holding on to any, well, not actually holding on to any stick charges, but Faith still manages to bring down the Enchantress. And at the end of the day, ends up being something like a 3-for-2 trade, I believe. A couple of Titan heroes arriving a little bit late to the party, and Faith actually manages to respawn and come back in. Actually, would have been 4-for-3 or 4-for-2. Titan lost ky.xy, they lost Miracle, lost the Enchantress, and they also lost Net right at the very start. So with that, IG, a couple more kills, continue to move the experience a little bit further down, but things are actually looking alright for Titan. Again, they've got a pretty solid late game lineup between the Invoker and the TA, and IG, how are they doing? Ferrari's going to continue farming. YYF has found some space to at least snag some phase boots, but still not doing that well in terms of overall farm. That is worth keeping in mind. He's the offlaner. He's not expected to do too much better than the Timbersaw.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And Net just sitting down on bottom lane. Miracle, what's he up to right now? Just kind of hanging out on mid. Tier 1 is going to be snagged by him as well, so even more gold. He is far and away the gold leader right now by a very wide margin. And what's he working on? Just heading straight towards the mech. Actually going to end up buying the most expensive component while he has the gold, just in case something untoward is about to happen. And IG, we saw that smoke a little bit earlier, and that is going to be used. Going to see if they can try and find somebody. They're even going to bring YYF along for the ride. He's got the Infest ready to go. So let's see who they can find here. If Net sits back a little bit more defensively, I think ky.xy can survive for a while, and they might be able to. They might be able to get some more support in here. Yeah, Net just sitting in the fog. They jump in on top of ky.xy. They're going to change focus over to Net. He is going to end up taking a fall. The ky.xy at least survives, gets slowed down. Ohio comes in as well. Chain Frost is going to be dropped, bounces back onto the creep, continues bouncing onto Ohio where it gets dead stopped. But IG do still manage to get 2 kills out of that gank. And with that, managed to take the kill lead. Extinct, nowhere to be found. He's actually just over on the top side of the map doing a little bit of jungling. Maybe trying to apply a little bit of pressure to this tier 1, but How comes in and puts a stop to that. And IG, despite a very shaky start, are now well on the road to recovery. They're actually getting some items up on their core heroes. Ferrari just working straight towards an Orchid. And given that they are going for the mech on the Bristleback, he actually has that completed now. Expect to see them actually maybe pressuring a bit more aggressively from this point forward. If they wanted to just sit back and farm, he could have gone for something else, but yeah, it looks like they're going to keep on going for this. Pings go out onto Ohio bottom lane. There's an Invis Storm Spirit on the hunt, and looks like Ohio probably just a little bit too far out for his own good. He Timber Chains back, but that's straight into Ferrari, who is right there waiting for him. He's going to try and survive Timber Chains away, but it's just going to end up being a kill picked up by Faith.
Radiant's middle tower is
and
under
Titan
attack.
also smoked, but looks like they got revealed by YYF.
Is under attack.
Only Extinct and his creep remain smoked at the moment. There is going to be ky.xy trying to bring down the tier 1 tower for free on top lane, and realizing that only YYF is up here so far, so actually going to move in and drive him back a little bit.
Is under attack.
And IG actually just going to back off bottom lane. They managed to place down a pretty nice ward as well at the same time, so how going to eat a cold snap from the high ground. Miracle just being a little bit cheeky. That's going to be 4 staff completed for him. Still lots of farm. Checking in on the level progression as well, is the leader as far as that's concerned. And golden experience, still a fairly comfortable gold lead in favor of Titan. Their experience has actually swung back in IG's favor at this point. And IG, what can they get in exchange for this tier 1? There's a little bit of pushing happening mid, a little bit of pushing happening top, but looks like it's just going to be the tower falling, and Net with that actually going to pick up the last hit, picks up some more wards. He's doing pretty well for himself. The Enchantress not having the best time. Looks like just straight rushing towards an Aghanim Scepter right now, but Titan have given him the space to just go and jungle up if he needs to. And it looks like IG would kind of like to 5-man with this mech, and you get a pick off with the Infest Bomb and then go from there. But they're kind of having to defend their towers right now. Titan are going to show some heroes top lane. IG have to split up one more time. They are going to go for a smoke here. 3 heroes heading up towards the top side of the map. YYF is already there waiting, and nobody's TP to this tower for a little while, so Storm Spirit is going to be ready to jump in if he's needed. No glyph available. Titan move in. YYF already below half HP, going to pop into a creep. Jumps out as well, gets slowed down. Net going to try and get in range, maybe for the Demonic Purge. But what they don't know is that IG have actually looped a bunch of heroes around Net. Gets clipped by the drum charge on the edge, might be able to get him out of here. Ohio actually going to pick up a kill on Banana. ky.xy meanwhile being focused, dusted up. One more right click going to bring him down. Dominating streak for Ferrari. Only ends up being a 1-for-1. Titan up here as well. Let's see what they can do. Net just sitting on the back lines. Everybody's still got plenty of mana. No infests. Just as Finado going to be coming in right now. And IG, I don't know if they can actually defend this tower. They are going to have the Lich up first, and he's going to be able to TP in perhaps with a Chain Frost, but Titan are already driving them back. YYF just eating a little bit too much harassment damage from the Tornado and the non-stop poison spam from Net. He's actually chosen to max out the poison this game, so choosing to do a little bit more active damage instead of relying on his teammates. And Titan move in, they get some creeps underneath the tower. IG could just deny it, they will do so, but now Titan know that they can just charge straight in. Miracle looping around. IG stuck in the lurch. YYF is going to be able to raid through with the Timber Saw. Knows no fear, jumps in. He's still got the mech. Will he be able to get it off? Deafening Blast comes in, maybe a second too late. Chain Frost bounces out. Titan are going to try for the Delta split. They do manage to stop the chain. And Miracle manages to find some space with his Force Staff. It's 1-for-1 so far. ky.xy waiting in the meld. And IG continuing to kite backwards. And looks like that is going to be it for this team fight. And Miracle now making his way towards either a Yule's or the beginnings of an Aghanim Scepter. He's still a fairly low level, so I would be surprised to see an Aghanim Scepter this early. Probably still one more item in between. I guess the other alternative, of course, is to work on a Necrobook. So we'll see where his preferences lie. Necrobook's actually really good against a lot of IG's heroes this game. ky.xy jumped on mid, Dust gonna go off, won't be able to meld here. Mech is gonna keep him alive. Ohio comes in at just the right time, however one more Quill Spray from How still finds that kill. Ohio looks at Banana, gonna start to be slowed down, but they get the Demonic Purge out, so looks like Banana is gonna fall. Turns around, gets one more blast out as a final act of defiance. They actually managed to bring down Ferrari in the midst of that as well, so actually ends up being a favorable trade for Titan, all things considered. And so gold keeps on moving out, experience continues to hover around 0, but while we've been trading, IG haven't been moving forward. They are close to winning a team fight. Maybe one more item on the Lifestealer once the Orchid is finished up in the Storm Spirit as well. They've still got plenty more waiting in the wings, but for at least for now, it's an extremely close game. Titan are only in the lead in terms of gold because of the towers that they've taken. If IG can win a team fight, the tier 1s are going to be pushovers, and they'll bring the gold pretty much back to even as well. So, still all on execution, still all in the early game, and nice to see Titan finding a little bit of an alternative style. It is going to end up being the Necrobook for Miracle. It's amazing against Bristleback. He has a fairly low mana pool, but this mana pool stretches out to a lot of damage. Obviously great against the Storm Spirit as well, and pretty much everybody over on IG is going to have a not so fun time against the Necros. Okay, so Ferrari's almost got his Orchid, YYF getting pretty close to his Armlet. What's the next item going to be for How? Looks like he's moving towards a BKB, which is going to be a little bit of a problem. for the Invoker, who has been doing a fantastic job of controlling these team fights so far. And also BKB, obvious pickup against the Timbersaw. As soon as you have it, you just don't care about him in the slightest. So the one way that Titan did have to burst down the bristle is going to be removed. Hao tries to haste into the regen, but the Demonic Purge is going to strip that away. Sunstrike comes in. Ohio launches in from the side, picks up that kill. Glyph is going to be used by the Radiant on top lane as well. ky.xy chases Banana away. He's actually going to have enough. Doesn't think that he can run for the hills, and is actually just going to double tap a TP home. And Titan even up the kill score. Continue to stop IG's progress, though I don't think they can actually get anything out of that kill. The tier 2 is probably a push too far, though they are going to take the opportunity to just starve out IG a little bit, do some dewarding as well. And what have we got for wards right now? Just some wards in the inventory of Net, so he's going to go down and play some non-standard ward just to make sure that just so that they don't get dewarded. This, if it was a little bit closer, could potentially be in tower 2 set range, since tower 2 set range is 100 more than tower attack range, but yeah, I don't think so. And Titan, move up, YYF, gonna get slowed down, gonna be forced to pop the rage, but he gets Demonic Purge. Banana pretty much already dead, won't be able to drop the Chain Frost. YYF jumps inside the Alpha Wolf, is going to be able to pop out. That bought him a little bit of time, gets it back out of the high ground. But Titan, one more pickoff, looks like that's going to turn into one more tower. They're going to pop the Glyph to see if Ferrari might be able to get this tier 1 tower on the bottom lane in exchange, and IG, realizing that the top tier 2 should have been forfeit, they are actually going to head over towards mid, but Ferrari gets the tower bottom lane. Ohio TP's in and gets silenced up. He should be just fine, but looks like IG are as surprised as I am that their top tier 2 is actually still standing. But Titan play it defensively and are going to end up backing off. And where are the wards for IG? They don't really have anything on the map. Are they just in stock? No, restocking in about 10 seconds time. So they've got the one ward over here, which is actually fairly valuable. There's still a tier 1 over here to TP into for Titan, but for the moment they're playing a little bit blind, and it's nighttime as well. So expect IG to farm up a bit, maybe get their hands on another smoke and load up this Infest Bomb, but aside from that, not really expecting too much. If you look at it, they have no idea where anybody on Titan is at the moment. And Miracle is going to be able to head into his Necro 2. 4-1 and 3 so far, still having a great game. Now, Ferrari's probably going to end up going for a BKB next. Again, great against pretty much everybody on Titan aside from ky.xy, who's just building in towards right click, phase, Yasha, drum. The build so far. How close is he to that BKB? That's going to be another fairly big timing for IG. He's bought the Mythal Hammer, he's bought up the recipes, so it just needs to farm another 800 gold. Ohio also working on a BKB. So it's about to be Magic Immune Central in this game. And what can they do about Ohio? Ferrari's coming in, he's got a silence, he's got a zip. Ohio gonna Timber Chain, he gets silenced, but that's gonna get him back to the tier 1, and he's gonna be okay. Now Titan are looking for a bit of a turnaround. YYF is being slowed down. The rest of IG perhaps a little bit too far away, and YYF is just gonna be able to pop the rage, TP out. Well, Ferrari's gonna zip, and also TP in. IG going to be fine. Will Titan be able to claim this tier 2 that probably should have been already dead? Faith can't really do a whole lot to split push mid, and the tier 1 is still fairly healthy, so looks like Titan are going to be able to move in, and IG would maybe consider taking the fight if the Bristleback had his BKB, but tier 2's gone. ky.xy going to end up grabbing the last hit there, and getting as much farm as they possibly can in the Templar Assassin is going to be a big deal, especially once those BKBs are up. You would love for the Templar Assassin to have a Desolator and still be able to lay into everybody over on IG. And And that's going to be Necro 3 completed for Miracle as well. Jump in on mid. Ohio and Net, along with the Sunstrike, are just going to pop Banana behind his tier 2. So sorry about that, guys. Ended up missing that kill. But with that, Titan going to set up for a little bit of a push. Banana has had a really tough game. 1-6 so far. Hasn't even managed to reach level 11, despite being a Lich. And we're 25 minutes into the game. So he's just been spending so much time dead and so much time not getting sacrifices off. There is going to be a tier 1 taken top lane by IG while all this is happening. But IG... I think they're still alright for the late game. Again, those BKBs are on their way, and the teamfight power is only going to grow from here, but it's still very close. A single pickoff could determine the outcome of a team fight, and a single team fight at this point could start determining the outcome of a game. Titan have still a little bit of wiggle room. They've got some tier 1s, they've got a glyph ready, but IG running out of options. Just the last couple of tier 2s, and you know, one pickoff could just lead to this tier 2 bid going down. And I guess Roshan is the other big thing to keep in mind as well at this point. Both teams have alright lineups for being able to bring it down. Titan have a lot of damage. They can bring in an Enchantress creep to tank. Worth pointing out is that Extinct has actually managed to pick up his Aghanim Scepter, and Titan making their way up with a smoke, looping all the way around the tier 2. Ohio is actually going to be moving in from the front right now, and IG don't have everybody here and ready to fight. They're going to spot the supports first. If they can burst them down, that's going to remove a lot of the disable for IG and quite a bit of the damage. Banana needs to consider maybe just throwing the Chain Frost as soon as he finds an opportunity. He's being chased away from his team, but Miracle, not in the best position, gets jumped by the Infest Bomb. Does manage to drop his Necrobook right before he dies. They lose Net as well. Ohio going to keep on fighting with this BKB as the Chain Frost keeps on bouncing. Ferrari now completely out of mana. Ohio with another Chakram walks his way in. If he gets this Whirling Death, should be a kill. Will be able to finish it off. Meanwhile, on the backside of the fight, YYF armlet toggling to try and survive against ky.xy and Extinct. How going to try and chase down the Enchantress. That's still going to take him a little while. BKB is going to be popped, and one more punch is going to finish it. However, we keep playing Ring Around the Rosie, and Titan get a double kill up on Ohio, just barely going to be able to escape as Ferrari rolls in. He actually ends up killing the Necrobook.
Radiant's
And
bottom tower is under
Miracle, does he have buyback? He does, but looks like Ferrari is now at a Sunstrike range, and he might still go for it, but we'll have to see.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Don't think he
attack.
can actually get the kill. Yeah, 4-7-5. Not going to be enough. So did we have any buybacks that fight? There was a buyback from the Lifestealer. There was a buyback from Ferrari as well. So I think maybe call it a win for Titan overall. They've got everybody back alive. IG going to try and head into this pit and sneak this Roshan, but the tier 1 is still alive mid for Titan. However, it looks like they don't have their suspicions about this, and it is going to end up being the Aegis heading the way of Ferrari. And not actually heading in towards a BKB as his next item. Has a plate mail so far. So it looks like Shiva's is going to be the call. And Miracle, what's he got? 2k gold. ky.xy, BKB up for him, still a full 10-second duration on that one. 9-second BKB left for Ohio, so still pretty happy about that. He's picked up his Perseverance, it looks like still moving towards the Bloodstone. How? Just a Hasterin bottled. He's going to end up grabbing Assange, so it looks like either SNY or Heaven's Halberd going to be the pickup for him. And YYF, what's he got? Also Assange. So IG, just that little bit tankier. Gonna try and hold on to this tier 1 mid as my phone bloops, so sorry about that. But okay, Titan, what are they up to? They could sit around and farm for 6 minutes if they really wanted to wait out the Aegis, but they don't want to give that much farming time and that much farming space to IG. So we'll see what's going to end up happening. They're going to keep on pressuring bottom lane as a fairly large group to try and bring in this tier 2. There is a glyph for IG if they want to bring some heroes in. Mass TPs going to the tier 3. There's the glyph. Make their way in. How is Hasted gonna start getting some goo out onto Ohio? The tower continues to drop. Faith gonna move in as well. Gets the dust, gets the bite. ky.xy might consider BKBing right now. Still holding on to it. Sunstar comes in, out goes the refraction charges. Ferrari jumps into the back lines along with YYF. Net gets dragged back a long way. Ferrari, however, eats a ton of damage from Ohio, almost going to end up going down, but still has enough left in reserve to survive. Miracle going to drop a deafening blast and try to escape with the TP, but it's not going to be enough time. They've lost 3 so far on Titan, make it 4 as the Enchantress bites the dust. 4 staff, not a 4 staff, but a Timber Chain away, and a TP from Ohio is going to get him to safety, but it ends up being a 4-for-1 in favor of IG. Aegis actually still in hand on Ferrari as well. So, big team fight for IG. Could have been a little bit better for Titan had they managed to grab that Aegis, but Ferrari just barely survives. And I think Titan got the last hit on the tower as well. So, not the worst trade, but again, very close game. IG building up a little bit of momentum and still have the Aegis moving into the next fight. It is going to end up being the Sanjin Yasha for the Bristleback. Lifestealer, we'll see what he's working on pretty soon. Looks like it's Halberd for him. And Ohio actually gets spotted out. Banana's gonna just go for a TP. Yeah, it's just Banana and How has no mana, so yeah, they're not gonna be able to do anything about him. But the worm is turned. IG managed to get their way down over into the Radiant side of the map for the first time in a while. Gonna take that as an opportunity to place down some nice aggressive wards. Keep an eye on what Titan are up to. Miracle just farming his way towards a Hex. It is going to take him a little while, though. He can bolster that at the last moment if he wants to sell his Midas. So that's probably the last thing he wants to do at this point. Still plenty of levels to be gained. So this is probably where Titan just say, okay, screw it, we're gonna farm for 6 minutes. We can't push up onto the high ground. Well, you've got the Aegis. I guess we're just gonna control our side of the map. Maybe try for 1 smoke pick off, though. If you look at the Radiant Vision right now, they have basically no idea where anybody on IG is. So feeling confident to go for a smoke is a little bit of a stretch, and IG just gonna secure the position that they're in even further. Faith is about to, well, Faith just picked up a gem. And Extinct deciding that it's time to start making slightly more desperate plays is actually going to end up picking up a Mask of Madness. He is so squishy, but if he can deal enough damage to convince the Lifestealer and the Storm Spirit to focus him down at the start of the fight, that's going to give a little bit more time for the 3 actual cores on Titan to do their job. So I don't really mind this pickup from Extinct, though if he starts to become a problem, I think IG should be able to deal with him just fine. He's only got 1k hit points right now. Bit of dewarding going on as well from IG as they just take complete control of their side of the map. They've got another minute with this Aegis. Could have maybe used it to force down this tier 1 on mid, but looks like instead they're just going to be content to start taking this towards the late game. Shiva's going to be picked up by the Storm Spirit, level 16 up for him as well. And, well, we're still just kind of sitting around in terms of gold, though experience takes a nosedive to 3k in favor of IG after pretty much just that 1 team fight. And Miracle is, well, doing Miracle Dota on Invoker instead. He's just going to keep his summon. Actually, summons are over at mid lane right now. IG move in. They don't have a creep wave around at the moment, but looks like it's not going to be too much of a problem for this one. Ferrari keeps on going. Miracle just sitting over in the jungle, and Titan not going to take the engagement when the Aegis is so close to expiring. We're talking a couple of seconds, yeah. And Ratvoker, but there is a Storm Spirit. There are plenty of ways to deal with him, and Titan, they've now got a small window of opportunity where they're back on slightly more even footing, but we'll have to see if they can do anything about it. The last fight didn't go badly because IG had an Aegis. It went badly just because IG's team fight has actually grown quite a bit since that last engagement that they had, and yeah, it looks like Miracle is now just resorting to the split pushing. YYF is actually managing to get some items up as well. And Ferrari's going to be chased down a little bit, but the Hunter might have become the hunted. Ferrari actually going to end up eating a Sunstrike and the Meteor. Very nicely done there by Miracle as he rounds the corner. Not going to be enough to kill him. Ferrari with some fast fingers will be able to zip away, but a very close matter. And I thought the Hunter was going to become the hunted, but it was actually the other way around. Ohio is going to pop his BKB. The Chain Frost, however, with the mini sleep is going to be used to cancel that. He's just going to use the Bloodstone Suicide, and Chain Frost continues to bounce forever. Oh, YYF, a little bit too far out, is going to be able to rage and TP, however. So it looks like he's going to be fine. Okay, so Titan trying to make some headway. IG continuing to farm as well. Right now, we're sitting pretty even in terms of gold, drifting slowly back towards IG, and Experience drifting slowly back towards even as well. But actually looks like IG are very content to just continue farming up right now. Both teams actually have some pretty nice wards down, though again, Gem is up on Faith, so we'll see how long that lasts. How is actually going to end up picking up a Basher. We've got the Hex finished for the Invoker. Are we close to any other big items on Titan? Not really, aside from perhaps a Desolator over on ky.xy. There's only 1k gold over on Ohio, so close to Boots of Travel, or a Ghost Scepter or something like that, but not a whole lot else. And yeah, Net still pretty poor. He's the hard support. No big surprises there. And has Banana actually managed to reach level 11 yet? Yes, he is actually up to level 12. Zip's gonna go out. They spot Extinct in the jungle. And again, only 1k health on this Enchantress. Doesn't take them too long to bring down. And Titan are actually being slowly but surely forced back onto their side of the map. Hao is actually very speedy with some Warpath stacks in his Sanjin Yasha, so Titan not going to be able to do anything about him. And as Titan heroes are being dragged bottom lane, IG are going to expunge the Rat from their top side of the map and get this top lane pushed all the way through. Okay, Roshan's respawned. It's been spotted out by Titan. IG haven't scouted it just yet. The map has gone very dark for both sides. IG should have some wards ready to be placed, however. Yeah, Banana's just carrying them around his inventory right now. Though he might not be the best candidate to be carrying the gem. So we'll see. Given his current track record in this game, you would prefer to see it maybe on the Storm Spirit, who's going to be in the middle of the fight, or the Lifestealer, who's going to be in the middle of the fight, or the Bristleback, who is absurdly tanky and is also going to be right in the middle of the fight. But Miracle going to continue trying to rat things out. Ferrari might be, well, Miracle could go for this. I think you could kill him in the duration of a Hex. The Necrobooks move forward, but Miracle doesn't want to use his Force Staff aggressively, just in case somebody is lurking over the hill. And both teams are going to vie for position on Roshan. Ohio pushes out mid. Looks like he's also going to be working towards a Hex. Banana is going to be fine to glide back into position. And Hao, 3k gold up, getting very, very scary. We'll see if he considers a little bit more survivability and damage next, maybe a heart, or if he is maybe just going to end up finishing off the Abyssal Blade. The problem for Titan is that they have nobody to make space for Miracle. It's all down to him to have really good positioning and turn up to the fight a little bit late. Otherwise, the Storm Spirit's going to zip straight on top of him. Yes, Titan can throw a bunch of damage in the direction of the Storm and the Lifestealer, but they can't really disable them that well. I guess the other thing that's worth talking about is Net probably needs to hover fairly close to the Invoker just to, if he can, get the disruption off, counter the initiation, and give Miracle the space that he needs to drop everything. The Sunstrike's going to come in. Roshan going to end up falling to the Dire. Extinct already used his Mask of Madness. He's going to be defensively disrupted, but Ferrari just going to shift focus over onto Net. Deafening Blast comes in from Miracle, and we do have the Chain Frost bouncing through. ky.xy runs straight in. Is going to end up dropping. BKB already being used. Net next to fall. There is an Aegis over on Ferrari, so he dies, but he's going to be right back. Nice bash from Hao. Very, well, very well timed. Is going to find a kill, and Miracle dragged back by Ferrari. Managed to get all of 2 or 3 spells down in that fight. Ferrari's got enough gold to buy a BKB, and looks like this game is well and truly turned around. IG did end up spending the Aegis for the last fight, but that's all that they lost, and they're just going to start marching straight down mid. Do need to wait around a little bit for the creep wave, however. Okay, so what do we have for buybacks on Titan? We've got a buyback ready for Miracle. That's the only one. They do have a glyph, so yeah, Miracle's going to be forced to buy back. If he can buy some time, they might be able to have one more fight with both the Timbersaw and the Templar Assassin. BKB's going to be back up for the Templar Assassin as well. Miracle 4-staffs in, drops the combo with the Meatball and the Deafening Blast, but IG not really deterred. How barely scratched. Did end up finishing off the Abyssal Blade after all is said and done, and IG, are they going to consider taking this fight up onto the high ground? Net comes out, they're going to try and force this. YYF makes his way back in. Extinct, he hasn't popped off the Mask of Madness just yet, actually gets hit by the Alacrity. ky.xy in the thick of things, going to use his BKB, but still getting punched to death. Ferrari, he's found Miracle on the back lines of the fight. They finish him off. 80 seconds for the Invoker to respawn. They do manage to bring down the Bristleback, and Faith on the run gets the bite out. Extinct doesn't have too many impetuses left, but one more is all it's going to take to bring down the Crystal Maiden, and one more right click as well from ky.xy drops the Lich. The Precious Gem hits the ground, and Titan actually managed to take a really nice team fight. Ends up being a 4-for-1 exchange, and they're going to see if they can swing this momentum in the opposite direction, head down mid, and maybe at the very least pick up a tier 3. The one thing to be mindful of is that 2 of IG's cores do both have buyback available, so Titan just need to be a little bit cautious about how they play this. Extinct deciding that he doesn't have nearly enough mana to do damage is just going to end up going to pick up some arcane boots, so he is the definition of a glass cannon this game. If he has space, he should be able to kill 2 or 3 heroes on IG. If he gets focused, he's just dead immediately. And Ferrari somehow has another 2.8k gold. Is actually creeping his way up towards being the top farmer in the game. How another 1.8k on top of that Abyssal Blade as well. So last couple of minutes for IG have done very well for them. Roll is going to come in on top of ky.xy. Silenced up. Shivas has been used as well. This is all that Ferrari has left. ky.xy going to pop the BKB. Ferrari just going to throw down the cheeky Remnant, and ky.xy, well, is just going to be able to TP out at the end of all of that. But IG actually don't lose anything out of those deaths back by the Radiant base, and they're now Titan are now 1 step behind in terms of the trades. If they'd managed to equalize things a little bit, get the tier 3, maybe force out some buybacks, then they'd be in an alright spot. But with no buyback on Miracle, Golden Experience spiraling down in IG's favor, and IG just continuing to farm up and controlling their side of the map, things are looking pretty bad for Titan, and it's not necessarily 100% up to them to make plays. Again, they are still scaling alright towards the late game, but IG just have a much more diverse range of threats. With the BKBs up on Ferrari and on how Ohio is no longer dictating the pace of the game. Throughout the mid game, he was playing fantastically. He TP'd in, he saved some people, picked up 2 kills on mid after they jumped ky.xy. And the BKBs are going to start wearing down eventually, so the Timbersaw will come back into his element, but for the time being, he's not doing a whole lot. He is going to have a Hex pretty soon, so if he can Timber Chain in or just walk in and get a Hex down on one of the heroes with the BKB before Titan get jumped, then good initiation could prevail. But speaking of initiation, Net gets found out. The gem is on the ground, so YYF is going to end up taking that one, and Titan as well end up putting the gem on the squishy support, though Net has a couple more survivable tools than Banana has. He's at least 1 step ahead. Banana's going to be working towards a 4-staff as well.
Illusion.
But IG feeling pretty confident, making their way down mid. ky.xy going to do a little bit of split pushing on the side lane. 3.4k gold up for him. Miracle going to line up the Tornado, going to try and buy some space for ky.xy to apply pressure, but Until they see the Storm Spirit, he isn't going to feel safe to join the wave. They spot the Storm, ky.xy heads over, but IG, no qualms whatsoever. Right up onto the high ground, YYF has already used the Rage. They bring down the melee barracks. They pop the mech. Not a scratch on the IG side. Ohio jumps in, pops up his BKB, but the man fight begins. Bristleback pops his BKB as well. The Abyssal Blade gets dropped. Ohio, the helpless victim, just gets chain stunned to death. And meanwhile, Ferrari actually runs into the middle of this fight. Looks like he was focusing on Extinct. Won't be able to kill him off. Ferrari actually going to roll and pop a TP to get out of here. Banana looks like he's sure to fall. One more right click brings him down, but IG, the only casualty that they suffer is the Lich, and they got what they came for. They managed to get both sets of racks as well. So Titan, can they do anything here? Ohio actually popped his Bloodstone Suicide, it seems, and then bought back after the fight. So that ends up costing Titan another buyback as well. And oh man, that's so costly for Ohio. He was like 200 gold away from a Hex. Now he is a lot of gold away from a Hex. Actually, still about 1.7k, but it's going to set him back a little bit. Meanwhile, Ferrari has 4.3k gold. Hao is about to breach 24k net worth as he is just adding more and more items to his arsenal. Looks like AC is going to be up next. No more components on the courier, but does have another 3k, so he's not too far away at the moment. And I guess we'll have a quick check-in on BKB durations too. Well, obviously YYF, he's got Rage. Ferrari has an 8-second BKB, so he's still being very conservative with that so far. And Hao a little bit less so, down to 5 seconds right now. Meanwhile, checking in over on ky.xy, he's just building up some more damage. Eagle Song in his inventory, and a 5-second BKB. Titan, 4-man smoke. They have to lead with the Hex here. They are going to be able to do so. Can they lock down Ferrari long enough? They've used the snap. He gets force-staffed back by his teammates. Zips out of the way of that Melt Strike. He used the majority of his mana for that one. But looks like IG still considering re-engaging. And for some reason, Ferrari has a regen rune. So expending all of that mana means nothing. Extinct. Couple of right clicks are going to be able to bring him down. Net going to try and TP out over in the trees. Same story for ky.xy, but he gets hit by the Abyssal Blade. He's going to be brought down. And what was looking like a fairly promising gank for Titan turns into a disaster. 2 heroes lost. ky.xy dies as well. He does have buyback. They do have a tier 2, and they do have a glyph. So Titan should be able to hold on here. Miracle just going to try and buy a little bit of time with the Meteor and the Deafening Blast, but IG just kind of walk around, beat the tier 2 up a little bit. They're going to be able to bring that down. Roshan respawning in about 40 seconds time. But looks like, yeah, buyback from the Templar Assassin still going to be a necessity. And IG, if they really want to, can just back off, keep on farming, extend this fairly meager gold lead, and then make their way back with an Aegis and Cheese to try and close out this game.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
We could still potentially see a huge team fight for Titan. Again, if you hex one of the BKB holders and focus them down right at the very start, then the team fight can start moving your way. If you counter the initiation from the Storm Spirit well, then you keep the Invoker alive, and he's really the engine for these team fights for Titan. So we'll see what they can do. Meanwhile, Roshan's respawn, pretty quick one. Does Hao have his AC finished? Yes, he does. Another 1k gold. The mech starting to look like the odd man out in his inventory a little bit. I guess next upgrade is going to be Boots of Travel. YYF has a Basher and another Abyssal Blade. And Ferrari is going to end up grabbing the Aegis. What's he working on? It's actually just a completed hex for Ferrari. So everyone on IG is up to their eyeballs in items. They are all of them are running out of inventory space. Miracle's going to try and do his best to keep top lane pushed out and maybe threaten the tier 3 if at all possible. Again, they've still got this tier 2 to work through. They've still got a glyph, so he's got a bit more time. As soon as he sees everybody on bottom lane, he is going to emerge out into the lane to keep on pressuring, ready to re-invoke the Sport Spirits. The Necrobook is actually on cooldown for now, and I think again, one more time. IG undeterred in terms of heading up onto the high ground. They hex up net already, so no counter initiation. And they silence up Extinct as well. They managed to find ky.xy. They drop the Abyssal Blade on his head. 100 seconds of death for him. Ohio also just gets bashed from full to nothing. Miracle, well, he had a little bit of space after all of his teammates died. Is still going to be brought down 5-0 in favor of IG. And they're also going to be taking this 2-game series 2-0. So with that, IG are going to be moving up to the number 2 spot, bumping Tongfu to number 3, and that means that it is going to be Titan playing up against Tongfu in our best of 3 tomorrow. I've been Basecamp here providing coverage on behalf of Beyond the Summit. Again, if you'd like to leave me any feedback on my casting, you can email me at basecampdota@gmail.com. If you'd like to support me at all, you can find me on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, all under the name of Basecamp. If you'd like to support the BTS guys, don't forget to follow the stream. You can subscribe as well if you've really enjoyed what they've been up to over the course of the last year or so or more. But otherwise, thank you very much for tuning in. To clarify the schedule for tomorrow, we're going to have the first game of the best of 3 between Titan and Tongfu. There will then be a 30 to 45 minute break for Hearthstone, and then we'll be back to close out that best of 3. So even if it ends up being a tie, 1-1 in the best of 3 after the round of Hearthstone, they will just head straight into the 3rd and final game. So it's only one best of 3, but yeah, there are still going to be some breaks tomorrow. Aside from that, I have no further announcements, so I hope you guys enjoy your night. Starladder might be moving over here, or it might just continue over on BTS 2. I'm not sure, so if that's still going on, I'll encourage all of you to go and check that out. But otherwise, thank you very much for tuning in, and I hope to see you tomorrow for more Redbull ECL action.